Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode, of fresh edition of the Hard Zone. You're watching it on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. My name is Derek Yale, and we hope you've been having a very good week, and we trust that you will have an awesome weekend as well. Again, this week episode of the Hard Zone, I promise you, we have a lot of interesting things to talk about. I'm pretty sure you watched last episode where we had the presidential hopeful Tewon Gonglo. But this week we have our panelists and some very intriguing conversations that you will be glad to be a part of. Before we get into the nitty gritty of things, let me encourage you watching us to, of course, share the program on your Facebook page so that someone that you know will be able to benefit from this program as well. So share the LRTN, share this program on your Facebook page and in whatever groups you are in, so that other people can watch the program as well. And we would like to, of course, always thank you for your continuous support, continuously following us and engaging the program. Tonight is episode 3 of season 2 of the Hard Zone. Before we get into the program, as we introduced in season 2, we would like to bring you current events. This is the segment where we give you some of the breaking news in the diaspora and that of Liberia. We'd like to begin with the diaspora, with this development in Fargo, United States. Murder, fear, and flyers in North Dakota. Just a mile away from West Fargo, North Dakota, residents on one September morning woke up to a small plastic bags on their lawns, and that plastic bag contained a picture or flyer of a Liberian man who had recently been convicted of killing a 14-year-old girl in Fargo. The caption on that flyer read, "The Great Replacement and Its Consequences." And that caption invoked a racist theory that foreigners of colors are replacing white Americans in the United States. According to the Washington Post, which is the source of this story, Liberians residing in this area have been keeping a low profile since that neighbor or a stranger distributed hundreds of flyers labeling them as a threat to white children. For more information on this development, you can visit the website of the Washington Post, and that is www.washingtonpost.com. Any another development? Unfortunately, a Liberian mother was murdered. A 25 years old it was reported that a 25 years old named James Colley Jr. of Moorhead, Minnesota, is on the run for allegedly killing his mother, who is from Liberia, and her name will be kept for the privacy to the family. So you can follow that story on a valid news website as well. So that is a very unfortunate news for the Liberian community. And also in the staying on the diaspora, we'd like to bring you update on the biggest sporting event that is ongoing in Qatar. That is the FIFA World Cup. The round of 16 of the FIFA World Cup was completed this week, with all of the African teams that were participating eliminated except for Morocco, who defeated Spain on penalty 3-0. Johnny Morocco in the quarterfinals will be Portugal, and Croatia defeated Japan to join who is scheduled to play Brazil in the quarterfinal round. And Argentina will be playing Netherlands that defeated United States of America. And last, England will be playing France in the quarterfinals. The top scorer for the World Cup so far is Mbappe of Paris Saint-Germain and that of France. So that is it for the diaspora current events. In Liberia, we have a press statement from the National Elections Commission that let me just read the press statement for you. The Election Commission released a press statement that the voter registrations has been postponed. The Election Commission informs the public, I'm reading from the press statement, that the previously announced December 15, 2022 date for the start of voter registration is being adjusted to a later date. They did not make that date known, but they like to keep the public informed that the elections process is on course. And also, the Ministry of Commerce, Liberia, released a press statement informing the public that the informing the public on the increment in the price of rice. And the government of Liberia, in a press statement, will hereby like to inform the public that effective December 3rd, 2022, the following adjustment price of 25 kg bag of rice is as follow. Wholesale price $17 USD for or its Liberian equivalent, and the retail price is 17.50 USD or 8 Liberian dollar equivalent. And lastly the CPP slash the ANC announced a peaceful rally that is to take place at the outside facility of the Samuel Kando Sport Complex, and that rally is scheduled for December 17th, and that rally is dubbed Retire Suffering. That rally was announced during a press conference by Ambassador Louis Brown. Thank you. So that's it for the current events on the Hard Zone. And at this point, I would like to welcome my panelists to the show, and then we will introduce our topic for the night. Guys, let me welcome you to episode 3, season 2 of the Hard Zone. Let me begin with my man, Bobby Mitchell Crawford, and then I will go following and come back to you, Sylvester Wamplo, Mr. Jai Winking Weah, Bishop Hager, and Blue Dish Choppy Charlie. Bobby Mitchell Crawford, welcome to another episode.
Good evening, Brother Derek. It's certainly a pleasure to be on this panel once again to engage my fellow panelists to discuss issues that affect our motherland. And I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Honorable Sylvester Wamplu. Welcome to another episode of the Hard Zone.
Derek, and I thank you to my colleagues on this platform. And today I'm happy to be here again, and to join my colleagues abroad to discuss the fate of Liberia in 2023 and after 2023 and the future generation. And what we say here will be used against us in history, and is a platform that will remind us even after 10, 15, 20 years ago. So we are here to defend our country and to promote the image of our country. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to sit on the platform to discuss issues with my colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sylvester Wamplu, and it is a pleasure to have you on this network and this panel as well. Let's move to you, Bishop Hager. Welcome to another episode of the Hard Zone.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very privileged. It is always an opportunity to talk anything about how we can make our nation, Liberia, better. I'm a very passionate and patriotic person. I'm here tonight to give my opinion, my ideas on how we can make that place, our nation, better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bishop Hager, and Mr. Jai Winking Weah. Welcome to another episode of the Hard Zone.
All right, Derek, Mayor, Mr. Wamplu, the Bishop. Nice to meet you guys again. It is always a nice time to be in your company.
Thank you, and we lost Blow Jade, but again, let me welcome all of you watching us on Facebook or on YouTube. Let me welcome you officially to another episode of the Hard Zone, and as always, I encourage you to share the program on your Facebook page or on your social media page, and share it in Facebook groups that you have so that someone you know will be able to benefit from this program. And always encourage your friends and family to follow the network on Facebook and YouTube. This is your favorite talk show, the Hard Zone. There's no gimmick, no fluff,
Okay.
your talk. But anyways, engage the program in the comment section. Leave us your thoughts on what we will be discussing tonight, and we will always make sure to follow up with you and have your comments highlighted on the show as well. Coming up tonight on episode 3 of the Hard Zone, we will be looking into President Weah for the 8 days trip abroad. We'll be looking at the constitutionality. Did President Weah violated the laws of Liberia or the Constitution? And what would be the legislature role and the course of action? Is the president trip beneficial or is it detrimental to the nation? That and many more will be discussed when we come back from a very brief break. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Theophilus Julipan Nelson I. I am the founder and CEO of Lift Africa LLC. Lift Africa started as an employment agency that has sought the employment of immigrants coming to the US and finding ways and means to be able to start life in this great country. Now we have added airport pickups and drop, car rental, hall rental. As you see, we have a new business location. Started with just a little office part, but today we have a whole complex that we can do a lot of stuff with.
Hello everyone, my name is Geneva Krantz. I'm the Executive Administrator of Uplift Africa. We have an excellent employment rate at our company. We work with and for you regardless of your situation. If you've ever been in prison, maybe your background isn't great, do not worry. We have a place for you here. We believe in equal opportunity for everyone, especially you. So sign up today and begin earning.
My name is Emmanuel B. Horton, Operational Director for Live Africa. Live Africa is the place to be.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're still watching the Hard Zone, episode 3 of season 2. My name is Derek Yale, and you're watching it on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. We're back. Let me have my panelists back on the screen. Before the break, we introduced the topic that we are going to be discussing: the president trip, for the 8 days trip abroad. Before I go to my first panelist, the president wrote a communication to the legislature, and that communication is dated November 18, 2022, informing the legislature of adjustment to his trip. And one of the adjustments on the bulletin list is item 5 is that he will be returning to Liberia on December 18. Let me bring this to you guys. I will give you guys a minute and 30 seconds to, first of all, give you an introductory statement on this president trip overall. Let me start with you. I always come to you, Bobby Mitchell Crawford, the president, President Weah, for the 8 days trip abroad. Let's talk about it. Give us your intro.
I am laughing not because I trying to make light of the question you asked. If there's anything, the gravity of the question you asked warrant a deep explanation from me, and I don't think that 1 minute is sufficient. But I will attempt to answer it in the best way possible, so that the people on the platform can understand the magnitude of the dereliction of duty that the president had just exercised. It is kind of counterintuitive to argue that some of his supporters will talk about all of the constitutional guarantees that enforce the president to travel, and he has the right to do X, Y, and Z. But I want us to take a step back and just really look at the whole traveling fiasco. For example, most of the trips that President Weah has made, notably like the Paris conference that came out in 2018, the president of China encouraged most of the leaders that they can have the meeting on Zoom because of the COVID restriction they had in China. And some of the leaders that did not pay heed to that, they sent representative. It is not just Weah. He went on a trip. Here's the insulting part to Liberian people. Not only that, there's something called being a good steward, right? We do that. We have families. When we have constraints, financial constraints, we cut back. Liberia have budgetary shortfalls. Liberia has problem with people getting gainful employment. There are a whole bunch of issues that affect that small West African nation. So whenever the president travels, it requires money. Whenever he travels, it requires resources that the country doesn't have. And what he does, he takes not just one, not just two, not just three. He takes more than 10 to it. The delegation is more than, it's like you're going for a whole, it's like a contagion, for lack of a better term. Real quickly, I know I got a minute on this. Just in 2018 alone, 4 travels that stuck to me. You know, and I'll just go through the list. I took the liberty of just jogging this down so that Liberian people can know the context of the president travel in just 2018 alone. Real quickly, on February 2018, President Weah traveled to Paris, France to attend the Paris Peace Forum. The trip cost taxpayer a whopping $296,248. And then in 2018 of that same year, he traveled to Togo to attend the 53rd ECOWAS Summit. Now, that was important that he attended. But the composition of the dedication, that what caused that money to skyrocket. He took his favorite toy boy, some of the people that had nothing to contribute to that summit went on that trip. And then in August of 2018, he traveled to Beijing, China, the one I just referenced earlier, to attend the China-Africa Cooperation Conference. You know how much that cost? $333,522 United States dollars. Hey, my people. You know, earlier I said it's kind of counterintuitive to come out here and talk about all of the constitutional guarantees that force the president to travel. But you're talking about people right now in the country, people having taken pay. You know, he left in October, end of October this year, and he's coming back on the 18th of December. Nowhere in the history, not just Liberia but Africa, had a head of state or a president abandon their country. And to make matters worse, his security detained nine people. What a disgrace! If that people were enjoying so much, they couldn't run away from George Weah.
Thank you.
I just speak about the type of leadership we have and the kind of traveling president we have that had deserted the Liberian people. And it's a travesty to come on here to defend him in the first place.
Thank you, Bobby. Let's come to you, Bishop Hagar. Give us your intro on this topic, the president for the 8-day trip to outside of the country.
I will always say this. It just exercise incompetency and lack of love for a nation. I don't want to sound like I'm repeating what my friend and brother Bobby Michel spoke passionately and clearly. I want anyone within this government or the CDC political configuration to name any time in history that a president of a nation, especially my people, one of the poorest nations on the planet, people in Morovia don't even have access to safe drinking water. People are dying from common diseases in our hospitals. And a president with over 50% delegation go globe trooping, enjoying. I don't understand it. It baffles every human imagination sense. This president, what I would say, he taking the Liberian people for a joke. For a joke. I hear people talking about the benefit of his trip. And listen to me, we are going to use the Freedom of Information Act to ask the government through the different agencies to tell us in terms of what kind of a financial benefit the Liberian people got from the trip. Because we're tired hearing these statements or the government benefit. Let them tell us in clear terms how much for the 8 days out of the country we're paying $2,000 every day with all the other people. Thousands of dollars have been spent, and then let them tell us how the country, how the poor people in West Point, in Newtown benefited from the trip. I want to see, and I'm waiting. We're not going to let it go like this. We're going to question them. We're going to go to court. They got to produce documents. They got to tell us how the trip was impactful for the Liberian people. We are tired with people joking with us. Joe Weah is joking with us, and he's a joker.
Thank you very much, Bishop Hagar. Let's come to you, Lord J. Choppy Charlie. Give us your intro on the topic being discussed. President Weah for the 8-day trip abroad.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, loud and clear.
So I think this type of knee-jerking responses to these sort of questions, I raise a lot of issues about what exactly are we trying to achieve here when we listen to this to the banter. I'm hearing people throwing a lot of numbers around, but what is the source of that number? How do we understand whether these numbers are real numbers or factual numbers? So until we can have the source of such an information, we have to consider that as garbage numbers. And the second point again we have to look at is that what are the laws governing these things? Uh, uh, People, yes, people can argue, about all kinds of threats, but society grows because of fresh things that have been done. Somebody have never done something before, and so people decide to go on the moon. Somebody did not build a car before, and so somebody decided to build a car. First time doing something doesn't necessarily mean wrong thing is being done. So we need to look at the financial cost, look at the legal questions, and then we can be better situated to analyze these questions.
Is that thank you very much, Blue Jay Choppy Charlie. Mr. Jawinkin, we give us the introduction on this discussion.
Well, what I can say is this. I think there is a problem for those who are supporting the number of days we are to spend out of the country. And the excuses they are given that he is being financed by the people who are inviting him. In the first place, Weah is not being invited because he's a footballer or he just Mr. Weah. When he was a footballer, no country ever invited him, no country ever sent him a plane. There is no free lunch. Anybody who invites you, that offer you this stuff, they want something in return. So the Liberian people need to know. And Weah needs to know that he works for the Liberian people. He is not working for his club. He is answerable to the Liberian people. So whatever he does, it needs to be spelled out. He is using the office of the presidency for himself, not for the Liberian people. He has been in power for about 5 years now or more. We have been hearing the money that he has been talking about that he's generating from visits. What have they done? How many Liberian youth are employed? There are thousands of children in the street. No hope for them. They are riding motorbike, keke at the age of 40. What will be their future? That is what Mr. Weah needs to be thinking about. Well, apparently we are in his government are using the ignorance of these people to use them, to give them money, give them handout, the election that is coming, to show that he's care for them. But that is not governance. Liberians tire with patronage governance. Liberians need to know they don't need anybody to give them handout. They don't need anybody to tell them what is good for them. They need to earn their own money. So Mr. Weah really needs to explain the major reason. As I understand, there is no president ever, except for Signet, that ever gone out of the country for 48 days. For what Brojo is saying, that is not invention. Traveling is not invention. If you were inventing something, then that's the first time. Traveling is not invention. People that try things, they invent. The fool, what we are talking about now is somebody's idea, invention. That's the first try. So what is he inventing?
Thank you very much, Mr. Jawinkin. We're glad to have you again, Honorable Sylvester Wamplu. You can give us your introduction on the discussion.
Thank you. And I always say this. President Weah's attitude is not a surprise to me and even surprise to many Liberians. His attitude is only surprising to seditious and not Liberians like me, who knew that President Weah is not a good president. He could never become a good president. And President Weah intent and like to this country was only about his personal greed. That's what he is demonstrating. Let me agree with Blowjay that President Weah has all of the laws attached to his travels. Let agree. I 100% agree. I accept it for the sake of argument. But it is necessary for the Liberian people who President Weah believed to be the poorest people, who Liberians believe, who President Weah knows that they are struggling. Yesterday, if he goes to the various hospitals, and today you travel there, they are two different things. People are buying gloves, people are buying sheets, people are buying syringe right in my district redemption hospital. No things electricity is an issue at the hospitals. And President Weah take 50 men delegation, even if he giving them 1,000 per day, they agree to the least amount, $700 a day. And look at his delegation. And somebody spent 48 days with the president. 1,000 times 48 is $48,000. That 48,000 times 48, do you know how many we're discussing? And children are in its hospitals, no jobs, students are going to school, and people are still sitting on rocks. Their communities, their district. I just took a tour these few days from between my Gibby, Bon County, and Grand Basso. There are towns and villages that I travel to. People don't have school. No school established, no school at all. Even for people are born in case over 4,000 people living in these towns and they don't have access to education. Over 2,000 people living in a town, they have no access to education. And the president sit there in Monrovia and think that Liberia is better. President Weah is the only man I went to school to become president. So, and his attitude is not a strange thing to me. You want to go to school to become president. There's a man who he was in the 11th grade, 2005. They say, "Oh, man, you not know book. You have to go to school. You go to school. You went to school. You graduated." Say because you have to be. So he went to school only to become president. So it doesn't surprise me at all, Mr. Derek. It doesn't surprise me. So that's my intro. It doesn't surprise me of his attitude because I know he could and he will not be.
Thank you very much, Honorable Wamblu. I promise to come back to you, Bobby Mitchell Crawford, for
that's fine. That's fair.
Go ahead. You can you can go ahead and do your rebuttal.
So I just wanted to quickly. I don't know. I treat this show with much respect. Whenever I come on this show, before I say whatever I espouse you, I make sure I do my due diligence. The people say you're entitled to your whatever, but not your opinion, but not the facts. Blowjay, what I quoted here is from a reputable newspaper, Inquirer Online, the New Dawn, and Front Page Africa. In fact, they're being generous. And if even I embellish here, the executive mansion, the president travel is in secrecy, there's no transparency. You know what, Blowjay reminds me of sometimes like the politics in America has become so polarizing, everything is fake news. Somebody says something, it's substantive. You cannot provide an argument, a valid argument. You try to poke hole in the argument. It is not banter. And you know that. You know the composition of the Liberian delegate. The president takes all of the country. And you have the audacity, you are audacious enough with straight face and say it is banter. You know what is banter? The Liberian people that are suffering. Christmas coming, they ain't paying them. We know how we know because we have people in our country that are asking us for their Christmas. So today I'm hoping we can have a show that is void of embellishment, that is void of it is just another game, so that the Liberian people can be served. We want intellectual consistency. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bobby Michelle Crawford. And guys, let me draw your attention to the constitutionality of this president trip. We know Liberia is a land that is governed by our constitution and, of course, the laws of the land. Now, my question is, the president trip, has it violated any laws of Liberia or the constitution? And let me read this from the 2016 and 17 fiscal year travel ordinance, the government of Liberia travel ordinance, line 12 or item 12, before you guys can answer the question. It said the total number of days spent on any particular trip shall not exceed 7 days, for which per diem and accommodation shall be funded by the government of Liberia. The total number of days shall not on any particular trip shall not exceed 7 days. Now, with that in mind, have the president trip have it violated any laws of the land, or is the president keeping with his constitutional duty? Let me start with you, Mr. Ja Winkin Weah.
You just did that, and that's what I mean. That's what I talk about when Bro J said it's the first time action. For something that is done first is invention. Traveling is not invention. So he violated the Constitution. I listened to Eugene Namwe that they are raising money on behalf of Liberia. Well, that's what I was saying, that they have been raising money, but yet you got thousands of children in the street. The last time when I landed in Liberia, my last week, I think I arrived in Monrovia at 1 a.m. 5 years old little girl was still selling water in the street. People still selling water in the street. So I do not know. Nobody expected Mr. Weah to do things overnight, but there is no structure of anything about change. There is no timeline. So I mean, I don't know whether there is something that you will never ask anybody in Weah government that what is Liberian people internalize from Weah actions. What is the projection? For all the years, you have never projected anything that at the end of year one, I will achieve this. And this is how it will be internalized. Traveling, dancing, singing. This is not about popularity. It's about the lives of the Liberian people. As Crawford said, we receive hundreds of calls every day. If things were right, we weren't going to be receiving a calls from people. It is a Liberian government that is responsible for the citizens of Liberia, not extended family. The Constitution says the Liberia government is responsible. If you say vote for me, you are saying please hire me to work for you. To serve in government means to work for the satisfaction and the security of the people. If somebody cannot afford a cup of rice, they are not secure.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ja Winkin. Before I come to you, Lord Choppy Charlie, let me provide clarity based on Mr. Ja Winkin answered. I asked that question for educational purpose to educate our audience, and the reason I read that part of the 2016 and 2017 ordinance is not to insinuate that the president did violate the Constitution. For once, this ordinance could have been revised, or like Eugene Nagbe said, the president trip is a smart trip. Maybe the president did not violate the Constitution. Maybe there was a twist in terms that the audience and myself do not know about, and the president is actually following the law on this trip. So I'm not trying to insinuate that the president violated the Constitution. That's up to the Liberian people. Lord Choppy Charlie, let me come to you. The president trip, did he violate any laws of Liberia in the Constitution, or is he exercising his constitutional duty as president of Liberia?
This is a question that has not been decided yet through a process, because you really some type of, I don't know what kind of law is that, statutory or policy or government policy or whatever it is, does not trump the president's constitutional powers. And the Constitution itself is very clear. Any law inconsistent with the ethics of the Constitution becomes null and void and is of no relevance. So we have to be able to reconcile these questions in terms of ongoing an examination of a legal process to determine whether there were violations or not. In the absence of that, for people to wage kind of propaganda suggesting that all kinds of assigning negativity to the president's trip does not assist in the public discussions in terms of how we should be doing nation building. So I just want to push back that we have to go and do a serious research in keeping with the laws and also the cost functions of these trips and balance it out. Until we can have that thing up, I find it difficult, and I'm very resistant to jump into the mud that is being offered tonight.
Thank you, Blojo. Let me stay with you for a second though, and just to make sure I understood you well, and the audience as well. Are you saying, from what you said there has been no investigation to know if the president actually violated or any part of any part of the constitution or the Liberian law? Is that what you're saying? And also, I have a feeling you dismissed the revised the government of Liberia travel ordinance that I just read. Is that your position? Is that what you were saying?
Again, we can read an ordinance. An ordinance, like I said, is not a supreme law of the land. So,
So this does not apply to the president trip. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying I don't know. Like I said, I mean, we have to undergo the real process for us to make a determination. I mean, just sitting down on a talk shop and making these decisions does not serve the question very well. We have to undergo that process that is required to make that determination. So it's difficult for me to do that at this stage.
Thank you very much. Let's go to you, Bishop Haggard. Listening to Blue Jay Chop Chat, I'd like to ask you a question based off of his comment. I read the government of Liberia revised travel ordinance. It was revised in 2016, 2017. And Article 12 of that ordinance state that the president cannot travel outside the country for over 7 days. Bloji, one of our panelists, said that as of now, there's no investigation, and we can't just take the words on this ordinance to say that the president have violated or Liberian law or the constitution. How do you address yourself to that statement?
Well, thank you very much. We want to look at ordinance. It was decisions that were made by the government in the interest of the nation. When they make that travel ordinance, it was actually to curtail unnecessary spending. So the government looked at the expenses that they were incurring on traveling. So after going through all the different analysis, they came out to develop a travel ordinance. And we, as a nation, if you truly love Liberia, you want to make it better. I would even say that 7 days is even too much in the age of technology, where Liberia as a nation has embassy representation to almost all the nations on the planet. And we can use technology to get the same information, to get the same into action. So the ordinance was made to help the country to save money. So when somebody come here and question the constitutionality of it, we're not talking about constitution. We are not talking about constitution. We are talking about the spirit to help the nation to go forward. As a president of a nation, I don't want to play politics here, and I'll speak to the Liberian people. It's not about politics. We're not playing politics here. If a president never in the history of the world, for a poor, impoverished a country that have less than $1 billion in their annual budget, just running the city of Philadelphia alone is $14 billion for the city. It tells you that Liberia is very, very poor. Manchester United runs a $2 billion budget every year. The reason why we having 780 or $800 million budget is because we do not have the resources. So whatever we have need to be managed. Do you think anybody, any multilateral organization or bilateral organization will take the government serious when you see on the news that the president has 50-man delegation going all around the world just doing nothing? Just doing nothing. Why should they pour money into our educational system? Why should they pour money in our health sector so it can be squandered by some? I I don't even know what term to describe them, going around the world just merit making when there's no serious effort made to alleviate. If you want me to help you, help yourself. We're not showing any leadership in that. The news all over the world. Is that good news for us? That Liberia, a poor nation, West Africa president, is going for 2 months around the world doing what? Watching football game. Is that a new blow? They will be happy about their country. It doesn't make you proud. For me, it doesn't make me proud. I have where I work with Moroccan. I work with people from different national groups. And they tell what? Your president, even Morocco, who have qualified for quarterfinal, the president don't even spend 3 days over there. It would not. Let's be honest. This is unacceptable. Even if it is not a violation of the Constitution, it's a violation of the ordinance. The ordinance was made with the spirit of trying to protect the resources of the nation and how we can use our resources wisely. Why the man can't understand it? And he can't tell you our politics? 2023 will tell you politics.
Thank you very much, Bishop Hagar. Let's go to you, Bobby Meteor Crawford. Is the president trip abroad is a violation of the Constitution, let alone the ordinance? And you can also respond to what Flo just said.
Well, first, let's put some things in context here. Ordinances are derivative of the Constitution, which is the organic law of the land. Now, the Constitution itself is clear. The 1986 Constitution, now drafted by Amos Sawyer, is clear and unambiguous when it comes to the enumerated power of the presidency with regards to travel, some of the perks and money that's allocated to him. So obviously, in fact, there's a caveat that if the president travels after 7 days, they can give an explanation of which President Weah did. But that's besides the point. I hope that tonight's show wasn't really going to be about the Weah, everybody against Weah. But unfortunately, it is what it is. Like, you know, like during an expression, they say, if you cook a saying tomato cut or diesel or baboon steak. This president, we all know, we preach this here every day, in every quarters, every segment of the population in Liberia. He's a miserable failure. But I'll point to that earlier. Of course, he violated the Constitution, but staying out of the country this long.
Do you think the legislature?
Yeah, well, hang on. But
go ahead.
Here's my thing. I am not saying that the ascendancy of George Weah to the presidency could have been a panacea to Liberia problem that is endemic. I'm not saying that. But his lack of leadership had exacerbated the problem. And his failure to recognize and recalibrate has only made it worse. The sense of fiasco, the election commission not doing things on time. So when we come here and we engage in these topics, we have the discussion. It is not banter. It is something that people seeing rather. It happening in real time, like people can say. You see a colo with your eyes. So the excuses is no more. The violation of the law just recently, right? The American ambassador came out.
30 seconds.
They said there are not enough money for public integrity institution. For the first time in Liberian government budget, it went to 700 million. But guess what? Schools and services to Liberian people still remains the same. What I say to you? You know, this government is not only failing, but it's a miserable failure. But I will pause for now. I'm getting heated here. I don't want to get ahead of my time because
thank you.
The night is still long.
Thank you.
The night is still long.
Thank you, and we'll be wrapping the discussion on the president trip very soon. But let me come to you, Sylvester Wamplu. Bobby Mitchell Crawford asserted that yes, indeed, the president violated the Constitution. Before you go ahead and give us your take on the question, tell us, would you call on the legislature to start an impeachment trial on the president since he violated the Constitution, if you agree with that statement? Go ahead, Mr. Wamplu.
Thank you. And you see, our brothers from the other side of Lone Star Cell, all they do, they hail the president of everything he does. Our argument, President Weah argument should not be about constitutions. The level of President Weah and the level of his history, the history of President Weah and knowing the challenges Liberia had, his argument should not be on the basis of constitutions. But because he has found himself in the mud, so the only defense his followers can give to Liberians in their mind is to say it is constitutional. I, Sylvester, say President Weah is wicked. I say this so every public forum. Liberia biggest challenge and responsibility, and the weakest man on earth in this country is President Weah. Take it from me. I don't mince my words when I say these things. I say on every platform, and today I'm here again saying it. When President Weah became president in 2018, took the matter of authority, many Liberians believe that there could be nobody else could take over President Weah unless he want to be, unless he want to relinquish power, until sedition was projecting 2024. Hoping that he could live to the expectations of Liberians, looking at the downtrodden masses. This is Christmas. I'm living right here in Liberia. Civil servants have not yet taken pay. And people are frustrated in terms of their salary. Somebody was making $200, they now make $90. I always say this in again. The
Mr.
man who
Wamblu,
is, yeah.
Honorable
Well,
Wamblu, sorry.
I'm trying to link
Let
this
me,
that all of this wasteful spending is a wasteful
I-
spending. So if
I
you
will
want to
allow you.
improve the life,
I will
yeah,
allow
if you
you
want
to.
to
I will
improve
allow
the
you to
life,
continue.
let me conclude.
Okay.
If
All
you
right.
want to improve the life of Liberians, if you really want to improve the life of Liberians with the expectations and where President Weah is from Gibraltar, a slow community that surrounds us with zinc, it doesn't have AC. And he looking at the living condition of the people and traveling for 48 days times the number of people he carried. That is a wickedness, and it's not a surprise to us. President Weah will continue to be wicked, and he's a liability. That's why we're going to fight with everything we have to make sure that President Weah does not get a second chance in the country to damage the future of our children. Thank you.
Honorable Wamblu, let me stay with you, Joe. I ask you the initial question. I ask you: do you agree with the Lord Mayor of Bentor that President Weah has indeed violated the Constitution? And if you do, will you call on the legislature to start an impeachment trial?
I agree with the lawmaker that the man violated the constitutions, but do not depend on the lawmakers. Let me give you a scenario of my own lawmaker who represent my party.
Would you call on them? We're not talking about
Even if you call, I can't call on such a people because there is no men in our identical house who have the will
Okay.
to call for the impeachment of the president.
I would like to hold you on that. And before I close out on this, before I ask you guys for your final words on the president trip, let me ask you guys a personal question. I know we all are fans of Lone Star. I'm sure that we all enjoy watching Lone Star play or watching football. Now, we saw the president in Qatar sitting with legends of soccer or Brazil legends. They had the likes of Ronaldo, Cafu, Kaká, and our president. He's a legend sitting there. How did it make you feel seeing that our own football legend sitting in the stand with Brazil legend watching Brazil game, not Liberia, watching Brazil game? How did it make you feel? And let me give you a backdrop. We saw Ghana, the colors of Ghana on the stand in Qatar, the legs of Senegal, and now Morocco into the quarterfinals. How did it make each and every one of you feel seeing George Weah, our legend, sitting in the stand with Brazilian legend watching Brazil game? Not his son, but Brazil game. Let me start with you, Mr. Ja Winkin Weah. And what does that say about sports in Liberia? Go ahead, Mr. Ja Winkin Weah.
Well, it's the same thing we've been saying that Weah is a failure. Take for example, I see Liberians say they are proud because Mr. Weah's son is playing for the United States. If we love the country so much, why the son can play for Liberia? Because the reason why I'm asking that question is that there are a lot of people that can say those of us in America are the one causing the problem. We don't love the country. but you have a president. All those in government, I can say they have all their family in the United States, but they can say we are in the United States and causing problem in Liberia. The point that we are is unable. I remember very well. Someone though used to put Jan Diva and we are in the car, carry them around, below the boat. Someone though make other guys to come on top of things. And we as president is unable to put in money or to raise money for our national team to even go to the African Nation Cup before talking about the World Cup. That is a disaster. So it means that he really selfish.
Thank you very much. And I'd love to come to you, Blue Jay, Choppy Charlie. And just on, we are putting money into the national team. There were news that came out when Lone Star were playing the qualifying round, I think, for the African Cup of Nations, that the team weren't well taken care of, and one of the foreign base actually ran away from the camp because, according to him, and this story is alleged, you don't take my word for it. According to him, a lot of stuff weren't provided for the teams, and players was sharing hotel room. But don't allow that to take you away from the topic. Blow the Choppy Charlie, George, we are our football legend in the stand with Brazilian legend watching Brazil play. How does that make you feel?
I think whenever you see legendary people from any discipline or any activity, any background, in real time, I think that's is a refreshing movement, and that is a moment that reasonable people can celebrate and cherish. To see that a legendary figure that people that have done a lot of good things in their own spheres of career. So, but besides that, I think the criticism that is being spewed here tonight, particularly coming from folks who led the country for 12 years and were even unable to manage their own national party headquarters. Imagine.
Okay,
no, I mean, let me
30 seconds, Flo.
Yeah, let me
I
just
want
finish.
you to, I do not want you to
Running
deviate.
a whole
We
country
have
for
a whole
12 years.
segment for the
No, but
conversation.
I'm responding to the commentary because somebody was talking about people across the street.
Flo, how did you feel with seeing George? We are standing in that stand
I did comment on it, but it's also important that I have to read.
All right, let me give you 10 seconds.
Yeah. So here's a dichotomy and a serious conundrum that we find ourselves in. There are people who manage the country for 12 years, govern the country with unlimited resources, free money from international partner, and the most basic thing of managing your own party headquarters, not even a government function. They were unable to even own a party headquarters that it was booted out, kicked out.
That's why they put you in charge, bro, Jay.
No. I'm saying that. Listen. No. I'm saying that it's so that people have no place.
But that's why they put you in charge.
Yeah. But definitely the government. I'm saying that. I mean,
I will protect Claudia, but we have a whole segment dedicated.
Yeah, but let me end. No, I'm responding to a particular comment.
I do not want you to get into that.
No, but I'm responding to a particular commentary. I think I need to.
I know, but you can write that down and then you can respond to that in the.
No, but that would be a different topic.
It will be on that particular topic. It's on the opposition community.
I'm not going to say the same thing. I'm going to say something different.
You can write it down, Bloody, but I will have to interrupt you. Let's go to Bishop Hager. Talk to us about watching or seeing our legend, our football legend, in the stand with Brazilian legend. And Bishop, you have 45 seconds because we have to wrap up on this discussion.
Well, honestly, I did not look at it because every time I see, I would get aggravated because I don't even want to look at it. It's hypocrisy at a higher level. Listen to me. Standing with Ronaldo or all the top people, and we can't even qualify for some kind of waffle. Having a president who won the world best, Africa best, European best, someone who benefited from the football in Liberia, And today, our football is in a total shambles. I mean, complete disgrace. To go and stand among top people in the world to show what? To show what? It is disappointing. In fact, please don't even share that image with me. I will not even have the courage to look at it. I'm telling you.
Let's move to you, Honorable Sylvester Wamflu. President George Weah is seeing in footage with Brazilian legend, watching younger generation of Brazil play. Or tell us how does that picture make you feel seeing the president or seeing our football legend in the stand with Brazil legend?
When we speak, our colleagues again across Lone Star Cell, across the road, and they will come back out. My contribution, I Sylvester, my personal contribution to Liberia football is far better than Georgia. I coached for 13 years in Liberia football. I established my own football team that built young Liberians up. I'm not a professional. I've never played football at any level. I established a football team in Maryland County called Takun FC in 2004. I personally behind the house from 2004 up to today's date. That team is one of the best teams in the Southeast. That contribution is more than George Weah, who played football and up then at a higher level and had no legacies and no image of remembrance to the Liberian people. President Weah is a public disappointment to this country, both in politics, in football. Our national team, it is the dullest in Africa, the dullest. Lesotho is far better than us in football.
So you get a man leverage on his topic to attack.
No, he's on football though. I didn't interrupt.
I'm discussing football. I'm discussing football.
You are
I'm telling you,
political party. That's what the man.
I'm discussing football.
The man mentioned a political party. Yeah, he did that.
No, I did not. I did not mention political party. I said my personal contribution as Sylvester, my personal contribution to Liberia football is far better than President Weah. Because the level that President Weah, look at me at my level. I've never even traveled in plane to go Ghana. But I established a team, Takun FC. Do your research in Maryland County. I produce over 13 players every year on the county team. From my own innovation, that's my contribution. So it tells you President Weah, who is sitting in the driving seat, if he can make the football better, we will do something better. But President Weah is a disappointment to Liberians. He is.
Thank you.
Both politics
and
football.
Thank you, Honorable Sylvester Wamflu. I will come back to you, Blo J. I have to come back to you, but let me take Bobby Mitchell Crawford. Tell us, how did you feel seeing President Weah in a stand with Brazilian legend?
I'm sitting here reflecting on that. Let me learn. Every time. Let me learn. I think it should become part of our political lexicon. You see here, I'm wearing a bracelet. There are different Bible verses. It's just an affirmation to say who am I? Who am I in Christ? I mean, I'm sorry if I express my religious belief here. If only President George Weah knew who he was. In fact, I wasn't embarrassed for Liberia or Liberians. I embarrassed for him. Love him or hate him. The record our boss said is in the Guinness Book of World Record. Nobody, a black man, let me put it that way, world best, Europe best, Africa best in 1 year. And you sitting over there, my people, with dry fish. I know, Derek, this is a question I wanted to ask because sometime a few weeks ago you alluded to this. That was your disappointment. And you sitting in that stand. Hey, my people, not even African Cup of Nation, the poor state of football in your country. And you proudly sitting. When the camera come on you, what would they discuss about football in your country? The late French Sito, I had a conversation with him in Minnesota. He said, "Love Tosso and Tosso, that man good." Let me put it in Liberian colloquial English. He went France to get a contract. True story. He said, "You call George Weah, he can vouch for me." The people say, "Oh, but they didn't get it. You will join the team." They called Georgie. You know what Georgie said? They got a Google player in the country better than that man. And that was the end of the case. George Weah just want everything for himself. He don't want nobody to go above. That kind of a limited thinking. That's the reason why football is like that in Liberia today. And he's sitting over there proudly. Like, oh, look at me, what I have achieved. But he's not looking at the long-term picture. That through me, all a generation of Liberians can be or can come out and do better than me. That's the kind of mindset he has, and that's how he's running the country.
All right. Let me come back to you, Blue Jay Charlie, before I close out on this discussion. I mean, I know you have some rebuttals to do, but hey, Honorable Sylvester said something that I want you to respond to specifically. He said that he's done more for football in Liberia than President Weah. No disrespect to him, but I would like for you to respond to that, Blue Jay, and then you can go.
I mean, I think that's an imagination that one cannot query.
George Weah point, he had junior professional. They have football team. They have junior professional.
Where is it today? Where is it?
I mean,
with a level, me, my. Are you good?
We
at my level, I still maintaining.
We have to move from the realm of utopia into reality, and I think in reality, we know the claim by Sylvester cannot even visit a kitchen with two persons because the records are so obvious and overwhelming. So let allow the brother to live in a utopia. He can stay there and feed. I think again the fact that he's even dreaming such an imagination speak to the kind of criticism that he's offering here tonight, and suggests why he's making the kind of political outlandish criticism and even the political journey that he's taking. It's also part of that imagination that we see being offered on his question. That he imagined that a dinosaur politician of almost 50 years as a field character in the country who has milked the public can change the code.
That's what he wants. That's why.
So let the brother live. Let him feast on our imagination.
I think Blood J intellectually is Sylvester offer evidence so you can check it out. He talk about his team, name the team.
What's the evidence? Who know about that evidence? Have you heard about Sylvester?
No, answering your question, he just going straight to Sylvester.
But there's nothing there to talk about. Have you heard about the team before?
With the information, you can verify the technology.
Verify.
The man talking about it. One over here. That cannot tell.
But I mean Liberia. I'm a contribution right in Liberia. In the southeast where President Weah from. I'm President Weah from the southeast.
Contribution.
Yeah, listen. I'm President Weah from the southeast. What is President Weah legacy in the southeast even when it comes to football? President Weah not even get tomato team in the southeast. I'm from the southeast. I get a team there.
So I don't question that you don't have a team.
I'm not I tell you, it is helping
but
them like
you taking the leap.
No, not a leap. I'm telling you, I reduced it to my level to tell you that at my level in President Weah level. Understand this.
Is that why you are doing it tonight?
Is a illicit intellectual. You can't defend President Weah. To defend President Weah is a person. That person, so you're not able to. It's hard to defend.
How can somebody defend imagination?
It's
not imagination, it's reality.
Let's move on.
Right.
And guys, if you're watching us, continue to engage the program in the comment section and continue to share the program on your social media page. And also you can follow us on the Liberia Radio and Television Network on Facebook and YouTube. We'll take a very brief break, and when we come back, we will look into the opposition CPP announcing a rally for 12/17/2022 dubbed "We Tire Suffering," and we will talk about the venue fiasco. Is this rally prudent or is it going to be chaotic? And is there a sign of a united opposition? And what would the security sector of the Liberia government live up to its constitutional mandate to provide adequate security for those rallying on December 17th? That and many more will be discussed when we come back.
Hi, my name is Martha Tomley, owner of Matisia Natural Hair Salon, located on 4405 Chestnut Street. We are specializing in locks, natural hair, braids, and etc. Call us for all your natural hair needs. You can reach out at 267-703-2330. If you have pictures or videos you want to send us, you can send it to 267-224-0693.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're still watching the Hard Zone on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. My name is Derek. And tonight we have a beautiful program for you, as you've seen in the first segment. And I would like to encourage you to continue to engage the program in the comment section, and also you can share the program on your social media page. The network to follow is LRTN Live on Facebook and LRTN on YouTube. So for this segment, let me welcome back my panelists on the screen, and we will get right into our discussion. The opposition community through Ambassador Louise Brown announced a rally that is to take place on December 17, 2022 at the outside facility of the Samuel Kayando Sports Complex. Guys, our opposition community rally. Again, the rally is dubbed Retire Suffering. Ambassador Brown stressed, he made a statement during his press conference saying that if you are living in Liberia or outside of Liberia and you are enjoying, this rally is not for you. The rally is for those people, those Liberians that are affected by what he called poor leadership by the current administration. So let's talk about the the rally that is announced for December 17th. Let me get you guys introduction on the topic, and then we will talk about the venue. We'll talk about whether this rally is prudent or is it it's going to be a chaotic one. We'll also talk about whether this is a sign of a united opposition, and we'll talk about the security issues surrounding the rally. But let me start with you, Bishop Hager. CPP slash ANC rally dub with tire suffering. Give us your intro.
Let me let you know that for every democracy, the role of the opposition is to bring to the public, to the opinion of the population, what the government is not doing right. So for me, I totally endorse this rally. It is important. There are so many things going on. It's important for the opposition. The way the government has a statutory responsibility, the government is to protect lives and property. The opposition, they are to let people know what is going wrong in the country. So nobody should say the rally is not important. The rally is important. That's the role of the opposition. When CDC was in power, they were rallying every day. They can't be the one in power now and say when they were opposition, they were rallying almost for everything. So why now they having problem with rally? Rally must go on. That's the role of the opposition. That is what they're supposed to do.
Let me come to you, Honorable Sylvester Wamplus, CPP slash CNC and CPP slash ANC rally scheduled for December 17th. Give us your intro.
Well, and the CPP ANC rally, and I think the guys are trying to stand up for a cause, and probably the ANC that will be their first major and rally if it is successful. I wish them well in their struggle, and I'm not against them, and I see that everyone need to express their dissatisfactions when it comes to the state of affairs, and that's the beauty of democracy. So what I would ask the government to do is to be able to provide security for the CPP ANC guys. Let them go and express themselves, and because even me, if my party have issues and we want to raise, and I will always call on the government to give us the space to be able to express our issues. So our colleagues on the other side and the ANC, CPP, they have issues and they want to raise it. And it is their fundamental right. It is their fundamental right to express themselves whenever they have issues. I'm a member
Thank
of
you.
the opposition community, so well, I support their decisions, that they are right. I cannot say they cannot go in summer, but I just also urge them to be able to do it in a peaceful manner as they're going to exercise their franchise.
Thank you very much,
That's my take.
Honorable Wamblu. You made some very interesting points that I would love to come back to you on. But let me come to you, OJ Choppy Charlie. Talk to us about the planned rally scheduled for December 17th, dubbed We Are Tired of Suffering. Talk to us about it. Give us your intro.
I think uh, there are a couple of issues that one can look at. But generally, I think Louis Brown, uh, exercising right under the Constitution, at this stage, evidence a level of improved democracy in the country. Unless when he was Minister of Information serving the Unity Party, when the Unity Party government was in power, it was difficult for people to exercise such a right. There were a lot of clashes with the police. The police were preventing people from protesting. They used violent means. The police itself was very using the violent force of warfare. So I for the ANC and particularly for Mr. Brown, to stand up and speak freely and talk about marching and protesting shows a big turnaround on this government. So
Thank you.
I think it's a plus for the CDC-led government.
I
Thank
want to
you.
say something to Bloche, please. Please allow me. Because never in the history of Liberia that
Bishop,
political party rally have been counter rally. The United States government came up and won the government. People were arrested by this government because they said that talk.
Bishop, hold
No,
your
no, no, no.
thought. Hold
You
your
shouldn't
thought.
say no, no.
Let me get everybody intro.
Okay.
I want to get in the habit of
No,
getting
no,
people
no,
intro
no.
on the
Maybe
discussion, and then we'll come around. Blood will always do this to y'all. But let's go
no,
to Mr. John
no. You
Wiggin.
shouldn't come here and listen.
Mr. John Wiggin, we are talking to us about CPP playing rally scheduled for December
Unity
17th.
Party was the most
We are
peaceful
tired of suffering.
government.
I think the issue raised or the issues about or the rally is about it is not about any political party. It is in the interest of the entire Liberian people. I mean, so I don't want for other people to see like, oh, it's an ANC thing or it's a this party thing. Liberians are suffering. So at this time, there is something that can bring people together, and that should be one thing. I don't think it should be labeled as that this party, even though yes, one person or one political party is bringing about that. Even though Louis Brown may not be the kind of messenger you want to see to express us message or convey some message to the Liberian people, but the fact of the matter is that you can't deny that Liberians are not suffering. So let's put aside our differences of our political affiliation. That is a good issue. Going to that rally, all Liberians going to that rally will send a great message to the current government that yes, Liberians are suffering. I'm saying it to Sylvester because you are in opposition. You said the other people on the other side, this is a Liberian issue. Liberians are suffering. So yes, no matter who raised the issue, it's a good issue. Liberians are suffering. So I will encourage people that can go to show up, Liberians who are suffering to show up so that Liberian people or the government in power will know that Liberians are suffering. Because if you stay back, if you say because it is raised by this party that I don't belong to, well, that party alone is not the members of that party are not the only people that are suffering in the country. All Liberians are suffering, and that is a good issue. Liberians can rally around that. Going to that party or going to that rally doesn't mean you belong to that party, but you are putting out your voice about a common issue that is affecting all Liberians. So it's a right thing to do.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jawinkin. Let's go to you, Bobby Mitchell Crawford. Talk to us about the planned rally.
I'm so grateful you make me the last because I have bias here in our.
I was just going around like this. Yeah, I didn't pick.
I said, good, all right, good, yeah. You know, I just like the colloquial, the phrase itself, the colloquial nature of it, that is relatable. We tire suffering. You know, suffering is not mutually exclusive. It affects every Liberian. And I listened to Honorable Sylvester. It is his exhibit A of what has become of Liberian politics when it comes to a united opposition. You don't hit the messenger, look at the message. People have a problem with the ANC organizing. It's not a protest, it's a rally. I listened to, I am not, so why should I be surprised? Henry Costa, who's supporting Joseph Boakai. He said he's not going to, you know, he went his usual blah, 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 blah. Cummings didn't attend June 7th, when it was a lie. In fact, he was the only presidential candidate that was there supporting and he gave money. But that's how the politics has become. So when you hear people saying the opposition is not united, that's you are an example. Oh, the people have the right, but your posture in itself is indicative of the fact that you are not going to even show up to be supportive of them. But let me just pick about on something real quick that people have been saying that I want to just think is you know, the Liberian people should know this. Louis Brown, they say he's not the red messenger. He's a rebel. When CDC people saying
let's pretend, Bobby, you were coming. I will come back.
Louis Brown a rebel, I just laugh. Y'all went in a marriage with the mean rebel group, the National Patriotic Party, for crying out loud. Charles Taylor White is the vice president. Mr. Bright, who was buying arms with that Colonial man out indicted by the United Nations, he's a political advisor to George Weah. Lance Eugene Nangbe, he was the chief of staff to the vice president, Honor Taylor. You shouldn't let me go there. When Cummings went and chose, I don't know how many people, 80 people to serve as a part of his election bid or whatever, people said, oh, he was being desperate. The man was being smart. They said the man slow. Nobody know him. Louis Brown speak their language. You saw a press conference? He's combative. He understands the political variable, and that's the kind of people you're like. We tire suffering. It's for every Liberian. Like they say in that press conference, if you think you enjoy, sit down home. It's okay for you. If you think that Joseph Boakai organize it, sit down home. If you think that Bernard you organize it, sit down home. George Weah will continue using you in our country. The people are suffering. And come December 17, not just Liberians, the world will hear us. CNN going to cover it. We're paying for it. Al Jazeera newspaper will cover it. It will be peaceful. And any attempt by the Liberian government, if they know what good for them, the unnecessary publicity they are already drawn on themselves, it will just be worse. So they should just, like they can stay, disease, whatever, just stay home. Don't even try to come and disrupt our peaceful rally because it will not be good for you. And Thank you, Honorable Sylvester, if you want to stay home because you think that coming CCP organize it, that's fine. Don't try for one ride alone.
Thank you very much, Bobby Mitchell Crawford. Let me use this time to welcome you, Reverend Adi. We are talking about the opposition planned protest under the banner of CPP/ANC that is scheduled to take place on December 17, 2022, dubbed We're Tired Suffering. So before I come to you for your introductory statement on this topic, let me come to you, Bishop Hager. You had a rebuttal to make, and I promise to come back to you, and then we'll go to Sylvester next.
Thank you very much. I was just trying to let my friend and brother who have come to really love Blowjay to let him know that the Unity Party government, with all the deficiencies they had, they really upheld the rules of law. CDC was always demonstrating, and nobody, there was no counter protest, nothing. The only people that were arrested were those that violated the law. The police did their job. CDC government always sent counter protesters. Recently, they were indicted by the United
States. Let's protect the bishop. Bobby, go ahead.
So, for Blowjay to come here and tell us that the CDC government is encouraging protest, they have no choice. They have no choice. George, we have no choice. We will protest. We will protest. Liberian people will protest because of the only language he understands. Protest. That man is scared that will put fire on his back. You know.
Thank you very much. And Reverend Adi, would you like for me to come to you now, or do you want to listen to the commentary to provide your introduction?
No, you can come to me now.
All right, can provide an introduction on the rally scheduled for December 17th.
Well, greetings to all of you esteemed panelists and dedicated followers of the LRTN network. It's a privilege and a pleasure once more to be here. Article 1 of our right to freely assemble and petition our government and possibly alter the government. So I certainly support any group of Liberians who, under the Constitution, are guaranteed the right to assemble and petition their government. So I'm certainly all for Liberians doing that. It is their right enshrined within the Constitution. So any opposition to that or any suppression of that is a violation of our Constitution. The power is inherent in the people, and the people reserve the right to freely assemble and petition their government, and while at the same time upholding the law. And that government is responsible for the security of that assembly. So any attempt to downplay a cross-section of the Liberian populace to demonstrate or protest or have a rally is within their constitutional rights, something I support.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Reverend Adi. Sylvester, I promised to come back to you, and the reason I wanted to come back to you, Mr. John Wingen, Weah, and Bobby Mitchell already touched up on it. The issue of united opposition. I listened to your introduction, and you are a part of the opposition community right now. Speaking of the Unity Party, but your introduction seems like you are like standing back from this rally that this here is about the Liberian people and the suffering. So talk to us first on the issue of the united opposition, and second, why are you distancing yourself from this rally? And talk to us and the audience about that.
And if you say I distance myself from the rally, my colleagues, including my colleagues, they did not do justice to me. I said I support the ANC CPP rally to go and express their dissatisfaction. That they are disenchanted. It is their right, they are their fundamental right to go and express it. I also call on the government to give security for the people who was going to the rally. So that's their right. Even if that does not mean whether I will go or I will not go. I did not say so. That I will attend the
rally. But you said they are dissatisfied. It means that you are satisfied.
Listen. Save us the speculation. Will you be going out there to support the protest with the rally?
No, I'm not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I'm
not sure.
But I can
tell us? But I support it.
Question. The man will not be there because that's TCP and that's it.
No, not because of CPP
and hardship is not mutually exclusive.
No, we're discussing like, listen now, let's get this straight.
Let me help Sylvester.
Get this
straight. Help you. Nobody on the platform would deny that there is issue between Unity Party and ANCC. Until then, Sylvester is under the political leadership led by Joseph Weah. And in the right now environment, everybody is watching everybody. You don't want to go look like you are cross-carpeting. So Sylvester have to protect a political connection. Nothing wrong with that. Until Joseph Weah and Alexander Cummings start to reconcile, then it start to move together. That's what I'm saying.
So Bishop, and like I said again, let me make this clear. My political party did not make any statement or to say that they are not part of the rally, and have not yet come up with a press conference to say they are not part. I am a member of the Unity Party, and I'm the official spokesperson of all of the young people in Montserrat. I'm careful of what I say. I'm not speaking on behalf of the party on the issue. I'm saying, giving my position as Sylvester on this as Sylvester giving his own opinion that it is the right. First of all, let's establish the fact it is a constitutional right, because the argument was CDC no, let me get this. Okay, CDC are saying that they are not in support of the protest of the rally to the extent they are organizing a counter rally.
The CDC have never said that. The CDC have not said that.
CDC just gave her schedule from the 17th to the 19th. CDC just gave Derek. Let me get this clear.
Before you get into the issue of security, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I want for us to be very clear with our audience tonight, especially on your position or Honorable Wamplu. You're not sure if you're going to attend the rally. That's fine. But let me ask you this question though. On the issue of the rally, though it was announced by CPP and ANC, but it made it very clear that it is for and about the Liberian people, especially those that are suffering. And when it comes to people that are suffering in Liberia, it includes Unity partisans, in matter of fact, including seditions. So you serving in a position of leadership, like you said, don't you think it's very important, knowing that Liberians are really suffering? Don't you think it's important at this time, no matter who announced this rally, for you to urge your people to go out there and express their grievances to their government? Don't you think that is very important?
So Derek, Sylvester is saying that he is not sure of attending due to maybe certain circumstances. That does not mean that Sylvester is going to tell Liberians to not go to the rally. I never made such a statement.
That is not the question I ask you.
That's the same thing you bring in. Sylvester. We talk about opposition. Yes, let me learn this. Let me give you provide information. Today, the opposition's community met at the Unity Party headquarters. Are you aware of that? Today there was a meeting.
I do not want you to deviate from this. This is very important.
I'm not.
I ask you direct. Don't you think it's important, if you know the Liberian people suffering, if you know sedition, Unity partisans are suffering, don't you think it's important that these people go out there and express
and I stated it, I said yes, it is important.
Isn't it important for you? I'm asking for you, Sylvester Wamplu, to encourage Unity partisans to go out there. Don't you think it's important to do so?
In as much I said that the government need to provide security for the people that want to express their fundamental right, it means I'm already encouraging people to go there. So how do you see that? How do you see that to be? I'm not playing. No, I'm not.
Let's talk about. I just thought it was important to ask you that question. You mentioned,
no, it was very important, and I gave you a direct response.
You mentioned well 50-50, but you mentioned security, and Blodge in his introduction said the government can take credit for this for giving.
No, the government cannot. The government cannot take credit.
Let me protect me. Let me ask Blodge this. Let me ask Blodge this question. the opposition community,
What's
Louis
going on
Brown was
tonight?
very adamant about the government or providing security for those that will be at the rally. Now, let me refer you back to the recent history, and if you can guarantee that the CDC-led government will provide security for those that are going to be that will be at the rally. This the issue with the University of Labrador student counter protester walking up on them and being very violent, and also the June 7th protest when police used or tear gas to disperse protesters, and also recent statement coming from the Ministry of Youth and Sport saying that the SKD facility should not be used by the opposition by those who are the CPP because they said the stadium is under renovation. Now, with all of that happening, Lord, can you guarantee that this government will provide security for those that are going to be participating in the December 17 rally?
I think first of all we need to correct some fallacy here. Yeah, the SKD complex was also restricted against from the CDC from using it. The CDC is not going to use it. Remember, the CDC was scheduled to hold a program at the SKD. Previously, it was scheduled for December 17, and the CDC postponed it to December 20. That ban, because of renovation, also affects the CDC. So it's not opposition. The CDC is not going to be allowed to hold a program at the stadium. So the first correction. The second correction is that the government of Liberia have not sponsored counter protests against anybody. In every society, citizens has done some stuff on their own. The Universal Liberia protests that led to clashes between different groups saw the government of Liberia arresting those people who went and confronted the other guys that were protesting. So the government again demonstrated its role in keeping the security.
After one,
the real issue is that people are simply trying to make noise where there's no noise. We have seen several demonstrations from the opposition in Liberia where there was the government did not come up, the police did not harm people. Contrast that with the Unity Party 12 years, and people were saying that Unity Party was so nice. Unity Party government went inside the headquarters of the CDC, not outside, with the force of violence, with weapons of war, and murder people, injure people. It was not the first time. In 2012, on World Peace Day, the violent, brutal police unit of Unity Party brutalized peaceful citizens. Unity Party went into schools. T.W. Gibson is very what cities or people were brutalized. So I'm saying here, look, we will continue. The CDC government has demonstrated its respect for democracy and citizen free expression. Recently, the Unity Party had a demonstration after the Lofa County by-election. They protested en masse on the streets of Monrovia. I mean, so all this noise about security is just unnecessary distraction. People is trying to invite chaos. I think maybe there is an understanding that they might not be able to mobilize the kind of massive crowd that they have anticipated, and so they are trying to invite chaos to blame the government for the inability to arouse the conscience of citizens to follow this. Where I don't know the name of whatever it's trying to organize here, but the government has been respectful of citizens' civil liberty and democratic rights.
Thank you very much, Lord Choppy Charlie. Let me come to you, Reverend Adi, on the issue of security and on whether we can trust the government of Liberia to provide necessary security for ralliers of the We're Tired Suffering rally scheduled for December 17. Just taking into consideration the history of this administration responding to protesters, and taking into consideration the just recent attack on Ambassador Louis Brown when he was at the radio station, can we trust that this government will provide the security needed for the ralliers come December 17, 2022?
Quite frankly, I don't think the Free Assembly of Liberians should be worried about trusting the government. The government should be guaranteeing our security. But we certainly have precedents. Every time opposition attempted to rally, government sympathizers would get in the streets and either throw rocks at them, such as what they did with the LU students. This is something that needs to cease. The government needs to talk to its sympathizers. The coalition needs to speak to its sympathizers that they should not obstruct the freely assembly of fellow Liberians like themselves. So government has a precedent for doing that, and then they had been delayed in the security apparatus attempting to bring peace between counter protesters. The fact remains that it's the responsibility of this government to ensure that Liberians are protected, and if there should be any other group attempting to rally or protest, there should be an assignment of geography that do not bring them in confrontation with those who are expressing their rightful dissent of the government. So, to Chubby Charlie, I think it's the responsibility of Jefferson Koji and the likes of Moba Molu to talk to the people, not to interfere with other Liberians who are attempting to freely assembly. I mean, to freely assemble. So yes, it is the primary responsibility of the government to protect the people. And there shouldn't be whether or not we should trust our government. This is our right, and we shouldn't have to beg them to protect, the people from freely assembling. We ought to know better than this. And if we are experimenting with our democracy in light of all of the sanctions and the fact that Israeli is self-styled retire suffering, it's very clear it's a representation of the temperature, the political temperature and the hardship of the Liberian people. So I think it's only fair that government guarantees that protection or security of the people. There was a famous politician that said, "For it is through the eyes of the opposition as a mirror that government gets to see its faults and failures." So I think it's an opportunity for them to learn and see what policies that can be used to improve the life of Liberian people after they've expressed their dissent. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And guys, if you're watching us, continue to engage the program in the comment section. Tell us what you think about the opposition community or planning or rally scheduled for December 17th, dubbed We Are Tired Suffering. Well, is it a rally or a protest? And what is the opposition community end goal? And will the government react accordingly? We will discuss this, and we'll also talk about which one of the opposition institutions pose the biggest threat to the current administration. First, let's take a brief break, and when we come back, we'll talk about all of that.
Hey there. Many Liberians are members of social clubs, 501c NGOs, and school alumni. Many Liberians are trying to open their own 501c NGOs, home care agencies, and social clubs. Does your organization have a professional website? Does your web platform have the right wording and content to attract grants? Hopefully you're not running your organization only through social media. There's a more professional route. You need an online space where you can craft a positive message about your organization, making your home health agency more credible, which will increase your chances to receive grants. We'll build you a responsive platform for 501c organizations, healthcare agencies, and other types of organizations. We'll provide you with full website maintenance, membership sign-in, private charts, Facebook and WhatsApp integration, live video feed for all your meetings and special occasions, a dashboard for members to see all the activities, and email and text auto reminders for meetings. We'll build with donors and 501cs in mind, and will help you solicit grants and automatic membership due collections. Building you this amazing platform will only be a membership fee of $19 a month. Call or email us now. Let's upgrade your website. Home health agencies and small businesses, you owe it to your company to project the best image possible, and we can make it happen. Visit www.tiamit.com or call 215-966-8679. Ask for Tommy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're still watching the Hard Zone episode 3 of season 2 of the Hard Zone, and we'd like to encourage you to engage the program in the comment section and make sure to share the program on your social media pages. This is the Liberia Radio and Television Network. My name is Derek. Now, the opposition community announced a rally scheduled for December 17th, dubbed "We're Tired Suffering." Well, this has been a nationwide debate. Let me have my panelists back on the screen. This has been a nationwide debate. Well, first of all, is it a rally or a protest? Now, what is the opposition community trying to accomplish? And also, will the government, President Weah, will he react accordingly? What I would like to do at this point is to give you guys the opportunity to address yourself to those questions, and then we can dive into the opposition community. But let first address that. Is it a rally or a protest? Let's start with you, Blue J Choppy Charlie. Is it a rally, protest? What is the angle, and will the government react accordingly?
Well, I don't know what it is, and I wouldn't really be concerned about what they call it, but what they do. And what I'm seeing, or what we're sensing here, is a desperate attempt by people who have, like I said, have been able to inspire popular appeal. And so what they are doing now is to go back to a kind of conflict situation where lacking the ability to inspire popular appeal, call for a rally and then became to make that rally as a confrontation with the government. When in fact, there's no beef here. I mean, we are not. I don't think the government is bothered by any group of citizens talking about holding a rally, whatever. The fact that even before the announcement for the discontinued use of the SKD, the fact that those people were even giving a permit to hold a rally outside the stadium suggests that the government did not see their actions as counter-democratic to the state. And the government, I don't think, will be on any pressure or compulsion to see people who cannot poll votes or lead, a mass citizenry organizing a protest or demonstration, whatever. We just expect them to be very peaceful in their actions and maintain stability in the country.
Thank you very much, Obloji Choppy Charlie. Mr. Jawinkin Weah, is it a rally or a protest? What is the angle, and will the government of President Weah react accordingly?
Okay, so let's get one thing clear here. The president or the government is not doing anybody a favor to allow people to demonstrate. It is a right. So the other thing again is that nobody should work.
He just froze.
They froze.
If he froze, I will just go ahead.
Yes, go ahead, Bishop Hilga. We'll come back to him.
Well, thank you very much. It is a protest, a rally.
Millions of people assembled to demonstrate in Washington. There were no problem. And this is why we as Liberian, I will pick a little bit. This is one of the reasons why, for me, I support somebody who will make sure that we'll not have that kind of discussion when he is in power.
Frozen.
He's facing the internet connection problem.
Okay, good.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bishop Hagan. I was just.
Well, the only thing I wanted to say in line with your question, this Weah led
to the
Weah led government have demonstrated continuously their level of incompetence. What I must say, when Henry Could start playing his rally, one individual rally The government with the CDC went all over the place,
Back
and
to you, Bishop. You can go ahead.
they were talking all kinds of things that gave impetus, gave energy to that rally. It is the right of every Liberian is enshrined within the Constitution. Every time since the inception of this government, every time people want to rally, they panic and they start to insinuate all kinds of things. The opposition has demonstrated maturity. They never violated, never broke anything. There was no destruction. It was the CDC. When they were in opposition, I was burning down, destroying so many things in Morovia there. So they can't tell us how to behave ourselves. Opposition always behave themselves. The opposition are responsible people. It's the government and their people. I know that sympathizers that always come to counter protest, then violence erupt. Let the people have their way. Let the people go up there and demonstrate peacefully. If you have problems, if they did anything, let's go to the court. But every time they talk about rioting, they will start saying about, oh, the people want to do this again. Listen, we would not, the opposition would not take George Weah up because of rioting. We will vote him up. He will come out 2023, he will leave. That's what we're going to do.
Thank you, bro. Thank you very much, Bishop Hager. Do we have you back, Mr. John Winkin? You were having some connection problem.
Right. I don't know why. But what I was saying is that
internet, internet on man, back to now.
Let's come to you, Honorable Sylvester. It's just funny how the internet be found until you start talking.
The internet is
I know.
Let's go to you, Honorable Sylvester Wamplu. Is it a rally or protest? What is the end goal, and will the government react accordingly? You're muted.
so internet dancing too.
According to Louis Brown, he says it's a rally according to him. So I hope he and his organizers are doing their best to be able to, keep it peaceful. That's all I ask for, and because when he and his organizers are planning, they need to plan well, and before penetrators. I know CDC very well. CDC. I understand their tactics. So when you organize such a thing,
this segment is time, so I allotted 30 seconds to you. I would like to.
Yeah, so let me conclude my 30 seconds. So all I can say
they
is,
used 30 seconds, but go ahead.
Yeah, let me just close it. And all I can say is that Louis Brown and his organizers need to play well and need to be vigilant, because CDC is a tactical group. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Brother Mr. Crawford, tell us, is it a rally or protest? What is the end goal, and will the government react accordingly?
It is a rally, retired rally. And if you can permit me on this platform, I want to speak directly to the Liberian people. I want to speak.
You want to do free advertising, my man?
Let's protect
that mother,
Bobby,
who lost their husband to Ebola and is struggling to pay that school fee. To that child that is going to bed tonight, they don't have food to eat. So that brother who's in that room, mosquito is eating them. I live here in the United States. I don't care how high it is. I can find food to eat. I don't have to tell you you're suffering. I don't have to tell you that you don't have money to put your children in school. You know what you're going through. I can come on the platform. Flo J can laugh for the government. He can sing George Weah praises. But you know what you're going through. Like Mr. Brown said, if you're enjoying, stay home. If you think what George Weah doing is okay, stay home. If you think that Cummings and the CCP organized this and you don't want to be a part of it, stay home. But I know you're suffering. So I'm appealing to all Liberians from all walks of life to show up on December 17th in your loud sounding voice Tell this government we tired suffering. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby Mitchell Crawford. Let's come to you. Let's go. Actually, let's go back to Mr. Jawinkin Weah so he can take another shot at this. Is it a rally or a protest? What is the end goal with the government
What I
relying
was saying is
accordingly?
that
I feel like you shouldn't open with that line. That's the line the internet can
no, no, no.
You know, they want to hear that.
I mean, protesting is not. It's not a favor for government to do for anybody. It is the constitutional right of anybody to do in Liberia. So what I was saying is that, look, for those of you who are skeptical about rallies, we are talking about democracy in Liberia. That's what I referenced to when they were inaugurating Trump. Millions of people assembled to protest, demonstrate. We never voted for him. There were no problem. So for those of us that live in America that see these kind of things, we should not encourage the other side. Those of us that are enjoying the kind of stuff that we're wanting in Liberia. So to avoid this kind of discussion, so I would like to say to all Liberians, the person who respects the rule of law in Liberia is Tiawonse Gonglo. That's what I was saying. Under his government, you don't have to worry about whether you'll be able to rally or not. So in order to do anything in Liberia, you need a president who respects the rule of law, and that person is Tiawonse Gonglo. He guarantees on day one that by the time he takes power, there will be an executive order giving the police the authority or to enforce the law that everybody, regardless of your status in government, you will be arrested by the police. We don't need to talk about this. Liberia is for all of us. Anybody can rally, has its guarantee under the Constitution. Thank you.
Just thank you very much. Just a personal question. Do you know if Mr. Gonglo is going to be out there on December 17th?
Gonglo is in the United States.
I'm asking, do you know if he's going to be back to Liberia before then?
He's supposed to be going back on the 18th.
So he chooses, he planned his trip according to the rally, right?
One day after.
With the date.
He's supposed to be back on the 18th.
All right, but let's come to you, Reverend. Go ahead. 10 seconds.
No, after when he arrived in Liberia, the next tour will be in Grand Bassa County. You'll be touring the whole of Grand Bassa County.
Isn't the 18th the same day President Weah supposed to arrive back to Liberia?
Probably.
But we'll be back on the 19th.
On the I was trying to get Congo to hop on that private jet.
Don't want to Adi come and chat to your speed.
Let's come to you, Reverend Adi. The protest, the rally announced for the 17th of December. Is it a rally or protest? What is the end goal? Will the government react accordingly?
So first of all, I personally think that it is an irrelevant distinction that people are looking forward to make. A rally is a mass meeting of people to express a political protest or show support for a cause. A protest is a statement or action of or disapproval. So what is the rally? Are people mass meeting in a protest? Do people mass meet together in a rally? Yes. What is the protest? We tire suffering. We tire suffering. Is that a statement of disapproval? Yes. What are they supporting? The right to human dignity, quality education, good health care, the lack of civility, insecurity in the country. That's what they're protesting. So for me, it is an irrelevant semantics that becomes a distraction to the free assembly of these people to express their disapproval with their government.
Exactly.
A protest, rally, interchangeable. In protest, we mass meet. We gather en masse. In rally, we gather en masse. What is the political statement of disapproval? We tire suffering. What is the support of cause? Do we all not want a country free of insecurity? Do we not want good quality health care? Do we not want our brothers and sisters to go to hospitals where they don't die at the door because they don't have money? Do we not want a government that every free Liberian can have a life worthy of dignity and not being beggars in their country? Do we not want a society where we can freely assemble and not have counter-protesters infringe on our rights? It's both. It's a rally, and a protest. But it's unfortunate in our political culture when we think of protest, we think violence, burning of cars, looting of homes. But we can also peacefully protest as a people as guaranteed and enshrined by the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia. So there should be no intimidation from government. Government should not worry about the peaceful assembly of people other than providing security as guaranteed by the Constitution. Thank you. What's the
Thank
end
you.
goal? Sorry. What's the end goal? You know, as I close on this, there are many folks who are asking for the goal of this rally or protest. When Dr. Martin Luther King and the rest of the black brothers and sisters who diligently pressured government under the hoses and bites of dogs, they never stopped until we had the Emancipation Proclamation, the right to vote, and several other things that came. Until our government can come to know the reality of what is happening and that the people do not give up on petitioning the government, we'll continue to be victims and beggars in our own homes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend
I said
Addy.
it better, Reverend. Thank you so much.
Reverend Addy, thank you very much. And thank you guys for your contribution on this discussion. The rally is scheduled for December 17, 2022, dubbed We Are Tired Suffering. And also, it's no secret that we have a divided opposition in Liberia. I mean, the United Party and the ANC, including the Liberty Party, and that of what is Benada your party's name, were in the CPP, and that split up. But the question of united opposition or divided opposition still stands. And let me remind you of a long-time advocate in person of Lehman Bowie once said that only a united opposition can defeat President Weah. So I'd like for us to transition into that discussion, but due to time, we can only take this can only be your closing remark. So, looking at the opposition community, the ANC, the Unity Party, and the Liberian People Party, Taiwan Gongro. That's the name of the party, right? And who posed the biggest threat to President Weah to unseat him in 2023? What are some of the strategies that will be employed come 2023, and what are their strengths and weaknesses? Let's speak to that, a divided or united opposition, and let's talk about those political institutions specifically. Let me start with Floje, since he's not from the opposition community. Let's get his take on this.
Anyway, thank you so much. Look, the reality here is that we have clashing desire in opposition, particularly from very dishonest characters who have sought power and have had power for a long time in the country. And this desire is such that there is a lot of dubiousness in the behavior. I look today from the release by the Unity Party, where they cited an opposition gathering at the headquarters. Attending that meeting from the release, they named all the parties that attended the program. They named the CPP as a party. They named all the parties, but then they also named the Liberty Party. Why would the Unity Party list the CPP as one party and then list the Liberty Party as another party, when officially and legally we know that the Liberty Party is in a collaboration with the ANC under the umbrella of the CPP? So if you list the CPP as an institution that attended your meeting, that means you should be talking about both the Liberty Party and the ANC. The CPP is not made of one party. But because of the dubious nature of the Unity Party, the dishonesty, they list the CPP, one, because they want to get it both ways, and then they went and listed the Liberty Party, which is the refugees from the Liberty Party, the actual Liberty Party and CPP, the refugees that fled to Joseph Waka. So we see the duplicity and the devious behavior coming from the Unity Party suggests that the opposition is just not going to unite. And we've seen the history of the period of time, the attack on the ANC leader characterized as a criminal, finger and all kinds of things, taking him to court, trying to jail him. The Unity Party has a history of dubious behavior. They cannot be trusted. And when we're talking about threat to I will not say threat to the governing party, the CDC, because the CDC is going to win these elections. But if for any reason through black magic, the Unity Party were to come to power, the Unity Party is the most dangerous institution that could ever return to power because of their behavior will wreck the country more than 200 years backwards. So I would see the party in that directions.
So are you saying this is just a yes or no answer, and just make it very brief? So are you saying, looking at the opposition community, you think Unity Party is most likely to unseat President Weah?
No. I say I don't see them as a threat, George. We are the CDC will beat if Unity Party ever face the CDC. That's
who do you think is most likely to unseat President Weah?
None of them has a capability because I mean they cannot win the CDC on their own, and they're not going to be united. The CDC is going to win these elections.
Let's move to you, Mr. Ja Winkin. Your candidate was here last week, and he sounded very confident that he will win this election on his first term with a vote of over 60% vote. So talk to us about the opposition community, and of course you're going to tell us that your guy is the biggest threat to the opposition community, but to the current administration. Go ahead. Mr. Ja Winkin, are you there?
Oh, yes, I'm here. You see, like, there's one thing I have to say. President Weah was elected in the second round. At the time, the Liberian people never knew what he could do as his president. Moreover, he combined with NPFL supporters of Charles Taylor and other people with selecting a wife of Taylor, who was also popular among Liberians. With all of that combination, he was unable to win the first round. Now that Liberian people know who Weah is, that is a big failure in 5 years. It is an imagination for Blowjoy to think that Weah is going to win this particular election. To the question of whether my man is capable of winning, yes. He is capable of winning because, unlike other candidates, he does not have that kind of flaw. The character he has, I think Liberian people are understanding integrity. They are understanding that it is not enough for somebody to give you better rights or money on the day of election. Then after that, you're on your own.
15 seconds, Mr. Weah. Go ahead. Wrap up, please.
Liberian people need to understand that they need to earn their own money. They need to earn their own power. They need to do their own things. And the only person that can provide that opportunity is Tiawon Se Gonglo.
Thank you.
I think he is the right man for Liberia.
Thank you very much. Let's come to you, Bishop Hager. Talk to us about the opposition community and who do you think poses the biggest threat to the current administration?
Well, politics is dynamic. It's not static. So all over the world, you find the reality of political party making alliances is a reality. So for somebody to come and tell us that the opposition in Liberia is fragmented, there are different interests at play, it will get better. And watch me. If the election ever went the second round, you will see what the opposition, the maturity is going to exhibit. Right now, for me, if you ask me, I don't want to predict. I'm watching carefully. But I can tell everybody, let me use this platform, Bishop Hager, to the Liberian people. If you ever make mistake to re-vote George Weah, you make mistake to vote your own suffering. The suffering that you will get in, my brother, you've never seen anything yet. Any opposition leader better than George Weah. George Weah 5 years have been chaotic, difficult, hard. Please Those immature, incompetent people must leave us so that educated people who know what to do. We have doctors, we have intelligent people that recognize internationally that can extract, bring resources to that country and allow babies, children, immature people to continue to lead that country. I can tell you, y'all will suffer. And me, I tell all my family, y'all don't
Thank,
even call me because you're suffering style here. Let me tell you now.
thank you very much, Bishop Hagar. Let's come to you, Honorable Sylvester Wamplu. You have a minute to talk to us about the opposition community and who do you think pose the biggest threat to the ruling establishment?
Thank you. And we respect every members of the opposition community, but I can assure you that the biggest opposition political party in the country is the Unity Party. And the biggest threats to the CDC is His Excellency Ambassador Joseph Nyamampuaka. If you travel to the length and breadth of Liberia, the four corners of this country, you will know that Ambassador Boakai is the favorite to win 2023 elections. And our brother Bloje said the opposition community is now united. Bloje, when George Weah became president, we had over 22 political presidential candidates where the opposition community united when George Weah won elections. Well, all the opposition in one room when George Weah won elections. All the opposition were never in one room. We are going to the elections with a respect, and we still respect the CDC, the CDC and the ANC, even the ANC, our own brothers ANC. We always respect them. It's just that it's sometimes we have citizens and Bobby will get angry with me. I'm seeing both of ANC people will not support Ambassador Boakai. Trust me, majority of ANC people will not support Ambassador Boakai. All that you doing here, Bishop Hagar, you did your best. You can do more than your best. But you are standing here, the ANC that I know will campaign against Joseph Boakai. And trust me, 2023 elections, you take it, you bring it, it is Joseph Boakai and George Weah who will go for second round. And you will see Bobby then coming on the platform. Bobby will come on the platform and campaign against Joseph Boakai. But we remind him about he telling Liberians that and George Weah is not better. He will tell you that if he prefers George Weah, just consider his banner sit there and leave politics and not support Ambassador Boakai. But if you ask me for my opinion or who and a clear opinion who will unseat Ambassador Boakai or George Weah, His Excellency Ambassador Joseph Nyamampuaka. And the Unity Party is prepared. We are fully prepared. We have the expertise. Let me close. We have the expertise. We have the experience. We have set the standard of good governance in the country. We have redeemed Liberia. We increase civil servant salary. We pay on time. We build rules. We set the standard of democracy in the country. That's why the Liberian people still believe in us, and Ambassador Joseph Nyamampuaka are going to do something different to deliver Liberia and produce a Liberia that every citizen will have the right and every citizen will enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sylvester Wamplu. Reverend Adi, talk to us about Go ahead. You already got it.
Well, it is my wish that there will be an opposition collaboration come those elections of 2023. But let's be very clear, politics in Liberia is in context, personality, tribe, and then institution. Lofa County has one of the biggest reservoir votes in the context of tribe. Their votes surpass the entire southeastern of counties combined. Make no mistake, our politics is very tribal. I share this to say that the greatest threat to George Weah now is Honorable Joseph Boakai. And make no mistake about that. He has the brand name. He's been in power for 12 years. And there are several records regarding what, that he can hold on to claim that this is what they did for the Liberian people. But I'm a bit disappointed in Bloger's comments when he said that, the CDC government is the best. A leader who builds 47 houses in less than a year, a leader who has no accountability for $25 million, a leader that has yet to pay civil servant salaries on time, the socio-economic and political degradation of the nation is what we want to go back to. for another what, 6 more years? Impossible. So if the Liberian people do understand this reality, then certainly the CDC government cannot be the government that they want to go back to for another 6 more years.
Thank you.
So as it stands, I personally, and I'll close on this, sorry. I personally believe that I don't question Mr. Cummings' competence and our experience, but in terms of politics, as being tribal politics in the context of brand name and electability, I believe Vice President Joseph Iman Boyka stands a better chance at unseating George Weah.
Thank you very much, Reverend Addy. Let's come to you, Bobby Mitchell Crawford, and you will close up, you wrap up this segment of this discussion. Or talk to us about the opposition community and who has the best chance to unseat President Weah come 2023.
I have had the privilege of listening to, I've been on a conference call. So a lot of the things that I said to you guys in private, I cannot say here in public. So I'll be the last person to come out here to criticize any of the extreme Liberians, like in the opposition, whether it's Benin Ayue, Joseph Boakai, or whosoever that's in the opposition, because I know what I see and I know what's happening in the background. But I would say this, even me at this time, Bobby Mitchell Crawford, I can defeat George Weah. You know why? All of the developmental indexes, for lack of a better term, that is supposed to rather improve the lives of the Liberian people are in the red. Extreme poverty, living on less than $2 a day, inadequate health care, chronic unemployment. I mean, the list goes on. I understand the troubled nature of our politics, but Mr. Cummings will be the first person to tell you politics in Liberia is retail. You gotta relate to the people. You gotta build a team. We have seen that in the people he has appointed to help in this election process. There's a lot of noise about it. But guess what? Those are people that have sway over a certain segment of the population. Politics 101. He's putting in the work. He's talking to all the opposition members. You don't see it in the news. He's reaching out. And I believe he is the man that is capable of expeditiously delivering this country from the quagmire of bad leadership, bad governance, rampant corruption that eluded the Liberian people for a very long time. And I will stop there. And thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you very much, Bobby Mitchell Crawford. And guys, thank you so much for continuing to follow us. Leave us your engagement in the comment section and make sure you follow the network on Facebook and YouTube. At this point, we will take a very brief break. And when we come back, we will bring you the next segment. That is the icebreaker on the High Zone.
At Fatu's, we know what it's like to feel a little homesick. That's why we work hard to bring you the very best and freshest imported foods and supplies from home. With quality design African cloths, beauty supplies, and tasty African food items, you'll feel right at home. So what are you waiting for? Stop by Fatu's African International Market for all of your household and family needs. See you soon.
Welcome back. You're still watching episode 3, season 2 of the Hard Zone, your favorite show here. There's no gimmick, no fluff, just real talk. We've had a very fruitful discussion tonight, and it's time that we transition into fans' favorite segment of the Hard Zone. That is the icebreaker round. Before I make known the question for the icebreaker round tonight, let me invite my panelists back on the screen, and we can get right into the icebreaker. The question tonight is, what's your favorite spider story? Favorite spider story. I know that's a tough one, but you guys have a lot of spider story. I'm very sure. Let me start with you, Bishop Hager. What is your favorite spider story?
And you know that story where spider, we all know in the Liberian traditional storytelling, Sparta is a greedy man, where he accepted invitation from two different towns, and he told them to put the rope around his waist. He never wanted to miss another juicy pamboda or whatever cassava leaf food. So it just happened by coincidence that the food from both times got prepared at the same time and they start holding the rope. And Sparta was caught in the middle. He couldn't go on the left, he couldn't go on the right, and they were just holding the rope until Sparta waist got very small. He lose it. They couldn't go to the end of the time. And the moral behind that story is that when you are greedy, you end up losing everything. Don't be greedy like the CDC government. Thank you.
This is an icebreaker round. But let's go to you, Reverend Addy. What is your favorite Sparta story?
You know, Pastor Hagar, the fact that we are both pastors, I guess we think alike.
I was
And he
almost
just
that's
shared,
the only one I was thinking too, but it's okay. I'll do
yeah.
it.
So you know, so I would just hop along and share the excitement of this greatest part of story as my own story too.
All right, Brother Mitchell Crawford, talk to
Well,
us.
that mine has to do with Sparta when they on the scene greeted story, whatever. He stole somebody's food, he ate it, and then they said, "Oh, we're going to execute him." So the people say he should choose whether they should pour him in the water so he can get drowned, or they should pour him in the fire. Sparta start crying. Oh, I beg you, don't put me in the water. Oh, don't put me in the water. No, we'll put you in the water. I said, look at these people in the space. Put Sparta in the water, he just crawl in the water, he left. So Australia Sparta spoil.
That's a good one. And Mr. John Winkin Weah, what's your favorite Sparta story?
In reality, the only story I have always been told is what the bishop told already about Sparta being really being put on both sides.
It seems that that's a popular Sparta story.
That is the part ever since I got this icebreaker, that was my own story. The visual already had it, so yeah, but it's been a great show, and you guys watching us, you can leave us your favorite Sparta story in the comment section, and we'll make sure to put it on the screen. But it has been a very fruitful discussion, and at this point, I would like to give you guys the opportunity to close out on the discussion tonight, beginning with you, Bishop Hagar.
Well, I just want to tell all our viewers, thank you so much for listening to us. We are not against any Liberian or against George Weah and his administration. If I come here passionately talking, it's because it's unacceptable, my people. If you look at the suffering, the level where our country is, it breaks your heart. I hope you understand. It's not about somebody wanting job or somebody trying to bring people down. We believe that our government should be able to help us, help our people. George, we are taking 50% for 48 days from a very impoverished nation. It's unacceptable. We got to do better. We have to manage our resources better. It's not about politics. This politics have not helped us. It's about being patriotic. Everything we're saying is just about our love for Liberia, how to see the country better. We are actors, we are stakeholders. Some of us, 30-40% of our resources in terms of our salary, in terms of our ministry, our churches, we have to spend it in Liberia every day. It can't end. We are suffering here. And nothing's happening. And we see government going around 50% just going sleep in hotel, drinking champagne, and the people just suffering in that place, just break our hearts. So please, nobody should take it to say, oh, we're against it. I don't have anything to get from job. We're in government. I don't want any job there, but we have to be patriotic. We have the passion to talk about it. I hope the government can listen to things, to what we're saying. They can make some adjustment and be serious. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Bishop Hagar. Let's go to you, Mr. John Winkin. We are close out on this program for tonight.
All right, thank you again for this opportunity. I'd like to address one of the discussion I was having with some people in Liberia who believe that we are needed more time. So my question to them was, are they asking for more time to be hungry? This is nothing about time. For me, I started school in a rural jungle town in Liberia, but that is in Jirebon County, in the rural part of the country. But in spite of all of that, we had textbooks. There was a mission that I started school to. Right now in Liberia, the people don't even have, even if they grow any food, there is no road, nowhere to go sell it. Everybody is begging. People are calling. As the bishop said, nobody is personally against President Weah as a leader. But in all democratic countries, if any leader gets to power, if he or she does wrong, they talk about the wrong and look for a better change. Trump was in the United States as president. The people saw that he didn't do well. He had a 110. So again, Weah didn't do well. So Liberians, re-letting Weah, meaning you are re-letting your suffering. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jai Winkin Weah and Reverend Addy. You're next. Goes out on this program, on this segment of the Hour Zone tonight.
So it is my ardent wish that the opposition do unite to be able to present a formidable force to changing the trajectory of our country. It's my sincere wish. It is very clear that this government's demonstration of ineptitude and lack of concern for the well-being of the Liberian people, as evidenced by the prevalence of corruption, compounded by the sanctions on government individuals, and there's no prosecution. The prevalence of poor quality health care and education are all the more reasons why we should ask for change. Change from a president who disregards the plight of the Liberian people, who prioritizes his entertainment by watching football games for 10 days and wasting the meaningful resources of Liberian people. If this is what we desire for our country, ranking 136 on the rank of corruption, it's a problem. Number two in poverty, possibly number one, that's a problem. When our young boys and girls have turned to be beggars and selling when they should be in school, and we call this change, this is not the change the Liberian trusted. From a leader who came from poverty to glory, but yet in glory and forgets his people that trusted him with their destiny. I encourage Liberians to think twice and be intentional about who you choose as your leader. But if this is what you want now for your future, then the choice is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Addy. Let's come to you, Bobby Mitchell Crawford. Close out on episode 3, season 2 of the Horizon.
Derek, thank you so much for having me on the platform, and to my fellow panelists. It's always a pleasure. Whatever you espouse here, it helped to shape, what I'm trying to say. And I really do appreciate that. I kind of bounce off you guys, and this is something I don't take lightly. I really appreciate you guys, So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be on the platform. But, I think it was out on Monday of this week when the U.S. ambassador, had a press conference, and it seemed like press conferences are more frequent than usual. And he talked about, strengthening public integrity institutions, giving them more funding. And there's a reason behind that. Nothing was more glaring rather when China Co, I don't know if that's the right pronunciation, the company that is paving the Roberts Fee Highway. They appear on Capitol Hill and they said they don't have all of the fundings, or they don't have the necessary equipment, to continue constructing the Roberts Fee Highway. That's the problem with you vetting companies that don't go through the proper public procurement process that the government has. And it was Roman before that. It was Nathaniel McGay that negotiated that contract. See where we are today. China Co went with, there was a one-man vetting program or whatever show they had going on, and they awarded them the contract. So we have a disaster today. The Roberts Fee Highway is a death trap. So we need to strengthen our public integrity institution, whether it is the anti-corruption, the public procurement offices, all these different institutions that serve as a guardrail against all of these things that serve as a constraint on our developmental agenda. And when we say good governance, these are some of the things we are talking about. And this is something that's eluded George Weah government for a very long time, and it will continue to do so if the government is not replaced. So I am hoping that the Liberian people will see that this man really don't have their best interest. There's no substitute for knowledge or leadership either. It has been established that George Weah is a functional illiterate. And when it comes to governance, he's just score on a scale of 1 to 10 is a 0. So I'm hoping the Liberian people can just say thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. And we are not going to vote you as president come 2023.
Thank you very much, Bobby Michelle Crawford. And
I don't want you to say it's been a pleasure, it's been bitterness, kojorobo, the Liberian people think.
Thank you, Bobby Mitchell. Thank you, Bobby Mitchell. Thank you, Mr. Ja Winkin. We are Reverend Addy, Bishop Hagar, Blowjade, and thanks to all of you for your contribution on every episode of the Hard Zone. I trust that our audience dearly appreciate all of your contribution. You all are from a lot of different political institutions, political ideology, but one thing we all align on is that we want better for Liberia. So those of you watching, I would like to also thank you for continuing to follow us and continuing to engage the program. We would like to draw the curtain. No, we have our announcement segment and also hustling in the Hard Zone next. So we will take a very brief break and bring you those all segment of the Hard Zone. Thank you. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're still watching the Hard Zone with Derek Galley on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. We'd like to transition into our new segment for season 2 called Hustling on the Hard Zone. And for this segment, we will focus on a Liberian money changer, Liberian money changer who also sells scratch card, and he's also happens to be a student at the University of Liberia. And in the video, he expresses his desire to not just seek government job, but to use his business and his experience to do something for himself. But don't take my word for it. Watch the video to follow up on Hustling on the Hard Zone.
Good afternoon, my name is V. Abraham Malu. I'm a street hustler, I'm a money exchanger, I do sell meat and data packages. I also do mobile money transactions. And then I have other side hustles, but for now, this is what I'm doing for a living. Okay, I am a student of the University of Liberia reading accounting, and since I've been doing this business, I started around 2019. Up to present is what has been supporting me throughout my schooling and other, necessary expenses I undergo. But I really want to say this business is very helpful to me because I don't wait for government employment before I can be able to earn a living. And so I choose it as the best alternative, and it's been very rewarding to me. And then I want to encourage every one of you who want to get me, if you want to get at me, or you want to find me anywhere in Monrovia, if you come here, be in the diaspora, you come. I'm situated right around Benson and Robert Streets intersection.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to season two, episode three of the Horizon. It has been a very fruitful discussion tonight. But before we draw the curtain on this episode, we would like to bring you some announcement. Starting with Giving Tuesday. So every Tuesday, the Multicultural Community Family Services distribute gifts of free African food, or they refer to as the Calabash Food Pantry, and the location is 1716 Terminal Square, Upper Darby. So here you can go and get a bags of food, and also in addition to the free food they're offering, they have a senior support, they have home health care, immigrant support, out of school youth programming, and professional development, and and consulting, or I mean consulting, yes. And also, if you would like, they will teach you how to make some African dishes as well. And moving on to other news, the Immigration Information Services under the umbrella of Akana Immigration, in collaboration with USCIS, is hosting a monthly Friday information session to address your immigration questions and concerns. The date is Friday, December 16, 2022, between 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. They put a reminder on this announcement that this meeting is also open to questions regarding all immigration's concerns. And moving on to another news, a non-profit organization operating in Liberia under the name Orphan Concern Liberia is inviting the general public to a gala on December 16, 2022. And you can find Orphan Concern on Facebook or Orphan Concern Liberia. You can also find them on orphanconcernliberia.org. And the last news we have here, if you will be in the Philadelphia area December 10th, if you'll be around the Philadelphia area on December 10th, and you're looking for something fun or to turn up to do, you're looking for something fun to do, or if you want to turn up on that date, the Great Company is hosting a black party that they term as Fashionista, and that party is a red carpet night of styles and elegance. So you can make your way there on December 10th, 2022, and the door will be open at 7 p.m. It's a red carpet event, and the ticket price is $50. So that's it for announcement on the Hot Zone. My name is Derek Yale, and I would like to draw the curtain on this episode. Continue to follow this network on Facebook and YouTube. We will see you. Actually, before I close, my CEO will left for me to send out a happy birthday request to one of the administrator of this network, who the hardworking lady behind the very fine quality video you get of the husband. So we'd like to wish you a happy pre-birthday. You celebrate your birthday this week on Friday. So we'd like to say happy birthday to you, Garfin. And guys, continue to follow us, and we will see you on the next episode of the High Zone. My name is Derek Kelly.